I'm bobbing up and down here in this little boat I've hired to take me to the floating markets here in southern Vietnam. This is the biggest tourist attraction out of Can Tho, where I'm staying right now. And you can hire boats here, you can go on a cruise, you can have it as elaborate as you want, but I'm just doing a simple little boat hire here, and we're off right now, and it's this week's edition of Far East Adventure Travel.
Can Tho is the fourth largest city in Vietnam and the largest in the Mekong River Delta region. People that visit are here primarily for the boat cruises that take you to the world-famous floating markets, a confluence of boats that merge in various locations of the river for trade of mostly fresh fruit and produce. For this trip, I hired a boat for about $14 that will take me on an approximate 3.5-hour tour on the Hua River, a tributary of the Mekong, where I'll see a wholesale floating market in action and visit a rice paper making village. After 45 minutes of passing by colorful vessels and regular river activity, including tourist boats heading in the opposite direction on their way to other floating markets, we arrived at the Cai Rang wholesale market. Cruising at a slower speed by boats almost spilling over with pineapples and other fresh fruit and produce. Local buyers arrive to purchase goods from the farmers that bring their fruit and produce to Cai Rang and take it to the cities to sell to shops and other wholesalers. It's important to hire a boat and leave the dock at Can Tho before 7 a.m., otherwise you'll mostly just run into other tour boats by the time you arrive. You can either book your boat in advance at your hotel or make a deal with one of the boat ladies hanging out at the dock on Hai Ba Trung. Typically, a boat at the market will have a sample of what they're selling attached to a long pole, so it's easy to spot what you're looking for from a distance on the water. This also saves the farmers or sellers from having to yell out what they're selling like in a typical market. You'll also have a chance to interact with boats pulling up and offering drinks and snacks.
So I'm in one of the floating markets right now. It's very interesting, lots of activity going on here, although I think there's more tourist activity than actual real local activity. And we just, another tourist boat just bumped into us just a couple minutes ago. And there's lots of people, of course, coming up, approaching me, trying to sell me like drinks and things like that. But it's pretty cool, I have to tell you, it's a pretty cool, interesting thing, especially for somebody that's not used to an environment like this, a Westerner. It's absolutely fascinating, actually, because this is how they've conducted business just for hundreds of years this way.
Can Tho was once part of the Khmer Kingdom. There's still a significant Khmer community, noticeable by the numerous Cambodian-style Buddhist temples in the city. If you've just arrived from Ho Chi Minh City, you'll appreciate a slightly slower pace with a mix of wide streets and narrow lanes. The city has enough interesting sights and places to stroll to keep you engaged for at least a few days. I found it effortless to settle in and enjoy the even friendlier environment and the inexpensive, delicious food and fruit of the region. The Khmer-style temples of the region are Theravada Buddhist, unlike the Vietnamese type that are filled with Taoist gods and Buddhist deities. A visit to Monastery Pagoda will either immediately take you back to your days in Cambodia or inspire you to cross the border. There are plenty of lovely restaurants along the waterfront on Hai Ba Trung, as well as a nightly market with plenty of cheap food stalls. But don't miss out on the great spots on Da Tam, the street of food located on Hue Bien, close by the Monastery Pagoda. Here, you can find a huge selection of dishes, whether you favor meat, fish, or vegetarian. Plus, there's bake shops that sell slabs of cake for less than 50 cents, and fruit stalls with jackfruit that's as sweet as candy.
So I'm sitting here in this vegetarian restaurant in Can Tho, and this menu is going to kill you. 15,000 dong for everything on this menu. It's all delicious, all pure vegetarian. Vegan, in fact. 15 dong, it's about 80 cents, something like that. 75, 80 cents maybe. And I want to show you what I'm having because it's so delicious. 2 big bowls of noodles. So this one is more kind of on the soupy side, but lots of really good crunchy things, lots of good texture, and lots of good like sort of faux meat, mushrooms, absolutely delicious. And this is kind of more like a big spring roll that's not wrapped up. So lots of rice, vermicelli rice noodles in there, crunchy peanuts, bean sprouts, all kinds of goodies. 15,000 dong each, can you believe it?
There are lots of friendly streets to stroll, and if you decide you want to take a rest and have a cafe da or Vietnamese iced coffee, just grab a plastic chair and have a seat like a local. I love the fresh fruit juices cafes serve here as well. Head back to Hai Ba Trong, walk along the river's edge, check off another Ho Chi Minh statue you've seen on your trip, and make your way to the prettiest temple in Can Tho, Ong Temple, inside the Guangzhou Assembly Hall. Under all of the huge incense coils that lends to the temple's magical atmosphere, you'll find Guan Gong, or Guan Yu, right in the center. The god of war, Guan Gong, symbolizes truth, justice, and courage, among other qualities. Guan Gong is the main deity worshipped at the temple. Development and modernization is spreading across Vietnam, including Can Tho, but there's still remnants from the past, including the Ninh Kieu Pier Tourist Market and its market hall dating back to 1913. Inside, you'll find trinkets and clothes, souvenirs, and a restaurant cafe with lovely river views. Meanwhile, back on the floating market tour, we traveled up one of the atmospheric canals to visit a rice paper making village. As touristy as some of this activity may seem, you'd kick yourself if you didn't hire a boat and visit a floating market while staying in Can Tho or the Mekong Delta region. The feeling of cruising up and down the river amidst this unique way of trade is an extremely rewarding adventure. There are longer river trips you can take and more temples and sights to see around Can Tho. However, it's the slower pace, obvious relaxed feel of the city and its people, as well as the transcendental experience of the Mekong River system, that is the bigger takeaway here. It's a reminder that as much as the country is changing, it's the old ways and pace of life that reflects the true beauty of Vietnam.
Well, that's it for this edition of Far East Adventure Travel from Can Tho in southern Vietnam. This is John Sabot. More to explore. See you next time.